Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and everyone else you think might find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. I want to start off by giving a very special shout out to our sports teams at Gardner High School. The Gardner High School boys soccer team made it as far as the quarterfinals. With the girls soccer team made it just about as far there. The cross country team made it to states. Our cheerleaders from Gardner High School made it to the regional finals with the regional championship under their belt, coming in first there too. It's really been a great year for Gardner High School athletics, and I just want to give a special shout out to all of our coaches, all of our players, our athletic director, Dan Fort. There was a great article in the Gardner News this past week about how we have people playing on the Gardner High School soccer team who recently moved to Gardner from several different countries even too. So it really is showing the best that the city has to offer in our school department this past week with our athletic programs. And I just can't wait to see how that continues into the next season as we move on to our winter season later on in the spring. Now that we've pumped a lot into our athletic programs in terms of uniforms, facilities, coaching staff, and making sure that we have the resources they need to be successful. It's really paying off, and we're seeing the return on that investment come back. So congratulations to all of our students. You really made us proud here in the city that you all represented out on the field when you wore our uniform. We want to let everyone know that this coming week, with Thanksgiving coming up, City Hall is going to be closing early this coming Wednesday at noon, and then will be closed on the Friday after Thanksgiving. So if there's anything you need from City Hall, come in on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday morning, or utilize our online services, as we are working to try to get as much of City Hall online as possible, so that you don't have to wait for when we are open, so you can have the services of City Hall from the comfort of your home, especially in the upcoming week. So we do want to remind people that if you need anything in the building that you can't access online, make sure you get that done in the early part of the week. I want to say a very special thank you to our state legislative delegation with Representative Jonathan Zlotnick and State Senator Ann Goby. This past week, Governor Baker signed the state's economic development bill that had been in limbo for quite some time, that had funding for Gardner. We were able to receive $400,000 from this economic development bill in money that's now in the city's hands for us to be able to renovate Waterford Street School so that we can fully implement our community center initiative that we announced earlier. This new funding is going to be able to make it so that we can really separate different portions of the building depending on what services are there, make sure everything's up to par before we open our doors there fully next September, and really helps get us that next step that we need to do so that we can really make that a community-based community center. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that fits there. So thank you very much to Representative Zlotnick and Senator Goby for your continued partnership in helping us with our development goals and really making sure that we don't have the city become an absentee landlord with one of our own buildings, and really continue the growth and development that we've seen citywide over the past 2 years. Just as another reminder to everyone, we do have our annual Christmas parade, holiday stroll, and tree lighting coming up on the Sunday after Thanksgiving, November 27th. Parade groups will be lining up in front of Gardner City Hall at 4 p.m. and the parade will take off at 4:30. It's a bit larger this year. I'm actually really excited with this because we are kicking off the city's 100th Christmas celebration as a city. So the parade will take off in front of City Hall. It'll go down Main Street, past John's Sports Shop and the Velvet Goose, Priscilla's, go up Central Street, and then end at Monument Park. And we'll do our annual tree lighting ceremony at the bandstand in Monument Park. We'll have representatives from the Gardner Police Department, the Gardner Fire Department, several different scouting organizations from the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and then Santa will be led in with a team of horses on a horse-drawn carriage with several different local and state figures on the carriage with Santa. It's going to be a great time for all. Then following the festivities of the tree lighting in the park, Chair City Church will be having a free dinner for a spaghetti dinner there for children to be able to meet with Santa, let them know what they want for Christmas, and take that Christmas picture. So if you don't want to wait for Santa to come to the local shopping centers and malls to take you that Christmas picture that you want with your kids, stop by Chair City Church after the tree lighting and Santa will be there to meet with everyone. We hear we're one of Santa's first stops of the year on his big trip around the globe, so make sure that you get out and enjoy what we have to offer there too. We are going to be doing the annual Mayor's Christmas video again this year. Letters have been sent out to all the different churches and choral groups in the city, but if you know someone who'd like to be interested in participating in that, please reach out to Colin Smith in my office. We'll be able to see what we can get in that video there too. The deadline for submissions for those videos is on December 15th, so we really need everything in there so we can process the video so that it can get released after that. While we're talking about Christmas and tree lighting and everything like that too, we want to remind people that the Memorial Lights campaign by Gardner Square 2 is back underway. So if you received a flyer, you can turn those in either at my office, the drop-off box in front of Gardner City Hall, the Velvet Goose, or John's Sport Shop. If you need a flyer and you don't have one that was mailed to you because you didn't participate in last year's Memorial Lights campaign, you can either get those in my office, John's Sport Shop, or the Velvet Goose as well, so that you can get lights in memory of someone who has passed or in honor of someone who has made a difference in your life as well. The DPW will be out this next week to clean up all of the flower pots that we put out in downtown and in South Gardner for the season. We will be planning on putting those out back again next May before Memorial Day. So if you are interested in sponsoring one of the flower pots next year, one of the larger flower beds, or any of the different things that we're offering next year in terms of the banners, the flags that are going to be put out on the light posts in South Gardner as well, let my office know, and we'll work with my office and Jess DeRoy, our City Economic Development Coordinator, to make sure you have all the information on how to sponsor those. We'll be actually coming out with a full-on catalog, if you will, of sponsorship opportunities in the city to really help kick off our 100th anniversary as a city next year and make it feel a little more homey here in Gardner and be really proud of what we're able to do and what we've accomplished for the past 100 years. Now to conclude this week's update, you're probably wondering why I'm in an old bank safe here. We're actually in the old Bank of America building downtown, recently purchased by Tony Molina of Molina Realty. This is set to be a brand new high-end restaurant, most likely a steakhouse here in the heart of the downtown. But the other reason why we're here is that we just concluded a grant ceremony here with Secretary Mike Keneally from the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development, Undersecretary Ashley Stolba from his office, as well as Mass Development President and CEO Dan Rivera, who is the former mayor of Lawrence. They came and announced 5 new grants that we've talked about in these updates too, but we were able to connect them with what we're doing here in Gardner. There was the site readiness grant that we received $150,000 for to do a feasibility study for a new industrial park up on the Matthew Street Route 140 area. And the reason why that's important right now is Gardner does have 2 current industrial parks that are currently filled out. I think we've got 1 spot left out of those 2 at Suffolk Lane and Linus Lane Drive as well, over by Mackey Building Center off of Betty Spring Road. Those are already almost filled out, but we have a demand that's there. So getting a new industrial park up there, the wayfinding grant that we're going to be using to help guide people around the different places throughout the downtown, parklets to purchase 6 outdoor seating packets. So basically, if a restaurant next year wants to have outdoor seating, rather than shutting down a whole road like we did on Pleasant Street, the restaurant can simply rent out the parallel parking spaces in front of their business. And this basically affixes on the road adjacent to the sidewalk so that it has a barrier around it so that those eating in those spots are safe from the oncoming vehicular traffic in the street. There's the collaborative workspace grant that the Wachusett Business Incubator received to expand their services that are there. And this is all part of our downtown revitalization efforts, but also our citywide revitalization efforts. It's a part of the toolbox that we have to put things together with the MassWorks grant we got last year on Rear Main Street, the underutilized properties grant that we got last year for the work being done on the corner of Connors and Parker Street. The site readiness grant that we got last year to purchase the Rome building that's set to be torn down, utilizing our CDBG funds next year so that we can open that up for further commercial development. And we've seen that return on our investment come back with people who are purchasing these buildings. With the Door Fund Incorporated purchasing the Central Park building that's over on Central Street, that's where places like Anne's Bridal, the Color Bar, that full building that's there, they've already notified us of the work that they're doing inside the building, and they're planning on doing about $150,000 worth of facade work on the outside. Candor Realty and the buildings that they've purchased, with the Garbos building closing about approximately December 7th, getting that from Dean Marcus into Candor Realty's hands, where we're hoping to have a bakery, coffee shop, and then about 14 to 15 residential units in the upper floors. Mass Ave Rentals with the 29 market rate apartments on the corner of Parker Street and Connors Street. Molina Realty with this building that's soon to be a steakhouse, and then the Gardner News building as well, that's going to be a commercial storefront, and about 17 market rate apartments as well. This is all something that's going to benefit downtown for years and generations to come, and I can't wait to see how that all comes out here. And what cooler place to film an update than a former bank safe and vault here that Tony was able to let us into. So thank you very much, Tony, for letting us film our update in a very unique location this time. If you have any questions on anything at all that's happening in the city or in this update or from these grant programs that we've talked about, you can feel free to contact my office at any time, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you very much, and have a great day.